the root problem of the poor performance of the value chain, identify the missing services and opportunities, and find concrete solution that can actually make an impact and make the value chain profitable from the production. So targeting the smallholder farmers that are at production level up to value addition, marketing, and selling. This is why one of my expectations was partnership and networking, and I am already happy for that this expectation was met. So I'm available for more.
Thank you very much. So,
any questions for Valentina still from the group? Yes.
My question was, in regards to looking for partners, what is your selection criteria?
Okay. We have different selection criteria, then of course the relevance to the sector, and also the impact, their capacity on how to reach the biggest number of stakeholders, and at the same time to create an impact. We don't have one solution fit all, so this is case specific. Usually when we start an interaction, we make our own assessment, and then we can, the best proposal win, the best idea, the innovation is the one that we usually highlight. We consider innovation, impact, their social responsibilities, and their organization.
They can use this one when they are talking.
Okay. You can talk.
any questions? Okay, if there is not question, we are going to continue with Mr. Gerard. You can use this. So, don't be afraid. There's no problem.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and good morning once again. Mugisa Jared again, working for Kawarole Research and Resource Center, in brief called KRC Uganda. And why we are called KRC Uganda is because we are operating in many parts of the country. Although we started, when we started in 1996, we were meant to serve only the Rwenzori region. And what do we do can be explained under 4 themes, organized under units under KRC, one of which is food security and agribusiness. Maybe before that, I have to say that our focus is the farmer, the smallholder farmer. That is the one we are made to serve. So we focus on this smallholder farmer with all their problems and poverty situation, trying to transform them to become people who can enjoy their lives, but also putting into perspective the aspect that that should be done without destroying the environment. So we take the issue of sustainability very, very key. So we serve this farmer through the food security and agribusiness unit at KRC, where many things are done, including giving extension services to this farmer to increase and improve on their production and productivity of their lands. But also, we look at issues of market, access to markets. So we are very cautious to make sure that our farmers will access remunerative markets. They can be able to earn an income to sustain their families. We also look at issues of value addition and, yes, linkages to markets and things like that. But also under this very unit, we are concerned that it's not only important to produce food, but also to take care of the safety of this food, and also ensuring that issues of nutrition are taken care of. So we have a department that is looking at food systems and concentrating on nutrition and safety of the foods. And we have a nutrition clinic where this is managed. These processes are managed. Also, under the agribusiness unit, we promote innovations, because we have an agribusiness hub, which is supposed to be a center for innovations, a center for information sharing, so that all the relevant information needed by these farmers can be accessed at the hub, but also innovation and business incubation and things like that. And yes, time over, all right. Okay, thank you very much. It's a lot to talk about. Yeah.
In your activity, you focus on the individual farmers, or do you work via cooperatives, other organizations? How do you manage to reach the people with your initiative?
Yeah, thank you very much. We work through the farmers' organizations, through groups, informal groups, through the formal groups like cooperatives and their circles and vislas. Yeah.
Any questions? Okay, you just clap for him. We are going to continue with Soluti. Dennis?
Do I say
Oh. Okay, just put it here.
Yeah.
Can you use it like that?
Okay. Well, thank you. And once again, Soluti here. I'm Dennis from Soluti Finance East Africa. At Soluti, we provide services to potential and our clients. The services are basically two: financial and non-financial services. Why are we doing those services? Because we want to create some impact on ground. The reason why we are called social impact investor. So we do social investment with the aim of changing the life of the person, the low-income person in the community. But because we cannot reach there, so we do that through what we are calling our partners in this context of financial inclusion. We are based in Kampala, but 100% owned by a company in France called CD. So we are an affiliate of CD. We extend the work of CD in East Africa. So we are actually CD, but operating as Soluti in East Africa. That is the background. So what we do is we work through partners. We engage a partner, and we have a criteria for engaging a partner. For those who came to My Cafe, I already told you how we engage you, and how we get into partnership, and how we support you to ensure that you reach the person we are looking at, that low-income earner in the community. So what is quite unique is, for us, we actually do debt lending in local currency. We try to reduce on that risk of exchange rate. So we will give you in the local currency that you want, so that you don't go again in the mathematics of exchange rate. So and that is how we try to help to again engage a small and emerging partner to again start struggling with the rates. No. So that's one thing we do. And we come to you. We are here in Kampala. We are locally based. We come to you and engage you one-on-one. Where is the problem? What do we do? So that is our approach. In the appraisal, once we do the appraisal, after that we provide you what we call technical. Are you sure? It's like I'm talking for 1 hour, for 1 minute only. It's okay, fine. Sorry, yeah, questions can come.
To help you, what is the type of technical advice that you give? Assistance.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Explain the material that you are giving.
I will give you the opportunity.
Okay, yes, thank you so much for giving the opportunity. I will use this time to explain the technical assistance. So we provide tailor-made technical assistance to the partners that we are working with with the aim of improving our systems, improving our MIS, improving the policies, the procedures, the product development. We have actually ESG, and we have about 7 categories that I tried to explain to you when you came to our to my table there. And this is done through mostly, we don't have in-house human resource, but we basically use consultants. We will engage consultants to come and help you in this area. We also add value to the client. We talk about value addition. Okay, one of the things I should say that I learned from this workshop is that mapping, the client journey mapping. So we are trying to really move away from the first stage of unconscious to awareness. I realize that awareness is very important, and that is one of the issue, one of the takeaway that we should really go and do. At least let's have clients who are aware, not clients who are unconscious, because I think the risk of engaging unconscious client is a little bit more than engaging a client who is aware. So TA becomes something you cannot run away from, even for the client. Thank you.
Other questions?
I can move the machine?
Okay. Yes, so that we continue. Yes. Let me cut you.
Okay, thank you. I will not go back to what I've already presented during our World Cafes, but I will give you the future developments. I'm not audible? Sorry. Okay, so I will not go back into what we have already shared in the morning. I will just take you right out into the future developments at TRIAS. We are already in the part of what we are doing already. We are trying to move a journey into incorporating ESG principles and policies within the framework of our partnerships. So with a much emphasis on integrating green financing, it's a very new, all of you, that's a new green area. It's already a gray area for everyone. So we want to do much more into that space so that we make also a contribution. Because we're also looking at it in a different way, that we are trying to blend Agri financing with green financing. So in whatever we are doing with our partners, that is what we're aiming at, to ensure that, because agricultural lending with climate change, they are cousins. Eh? Yeah. Also at TRIAS Global, we have set up a new entity called TRIAS Plus. That's a consulting firm, but we subsidize part of TRIAS as TRIAS corporate subsidizes TRIAS Plus. So we offer technical assistance subsidized through our own expertise internally, but also we source out on behalf of whoever will have contracted. That is 1. 2. 3 is we are going into strategic partnership with TAs. We have already started that, and we have seen the fruits that comes through, because we have learned that much as, TRIAS has been a very silent organization that you can never know, apart from those who know. But we came to realize that we're doing much more out there, and we're not maybe known, but we could also do much more if we went into strategic partnership with technical assistant partners. So we have frameworks under which we are working, call it consortiums, both national and international. So that is the way of developing our projects. We are using human-centered design approach now in designing the programs, and that's a new twist of how we're developing our programs. So already among these ones, I think we're in collaborations with about 3, Annabelle, KRC, and maybe Humundi. We are not yet finalizing, but we are, and BRS, we are there. So that is the direction we're taking, that we could do much more other than doing only what we can afford. We bring in resources, technical assistance together, we leverage on the potential of each. That is the direction we're taking. By and large, that is what we have. Yeah. Thank you. Questions?
Any questions, extra questions for TRIAS? No? Give me that.
Oh,
Where
sorry.
are you?
So we can continue with Caroline.
So FSD Uganda, very brief. What do you need to take away today? FSD, we are passionate about financial inclusion. So anything that is related to deepening financial inclusion, targeting the unserved and underserved population. Our focus is mainly on women, youth, micro and small enterprises, refugees, and smallholder farmers. Those are the populations that are struggling, have not yet been able to access, to use financial services. So how do we do this? We work with public and private entities to put out interventions that can support this group. Yeah. So what you need to know is the tools that we use to work with, different stakeholders in the financial sector. We do provide grants, we provide technical assistance, we do a lot of research at FSD Uganda, and then we are a convener, we are a facilitator. We bring stakeholders into the room to discuss issues related to financial inclusion. We are interested and passionate about changing the trajectory of financial inclusion at policy level. That is why we work with government entities, regulators, associations, to change the policy aspects that are going to support these groups that are underserved with financial inclusion. We are interested in piloting innovative products that can reach those groups that we are really passionate about. So I think what is very key here, when you're thinking about coming to financial sector deepening Uganda, you must know the focus areas that we are interested in. What innovation have you designed that is going to support women? What innovation do you want to pilot that is going to give the youth leverage? What is happening in the refugee area? And for you to do that, you must consume all the research that we engage in. So it is very important that you all get to know the website of FSD Uganda. There is a lot of information there so that you can be able to use it on the day-to-day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any question? Yes.
I wanted to know, because you said that you are supporting people struggling with financial inclusion, are there efforts to support people with disabilities?
Yes, people with disabilities are also a population that, I don't really want to use this word, but can be disadvantaged in terms of access, underprivileged in terms of access to financial services. So yes, it's important to include them as well when you're thinking about financial inclusion. Populations that are underserved, what does it take for them to get into the financial institution? So yes, the answer is yes. No question?
No question?
Thank you.
Let us continue with Omondi.
Is it still working?
Like this. Complete the machine. Can help you. I will be here. I'll put it together. Okay. Spare it. Okay, thank you. Homundi is a Belgian NGO working in Ethiopia. Actually, it works in Latin America, in different countries in Latin America and Africa. I'm representing the Ethiopian office or the country or program. So in Ethiopia, we are working with 6 NGOs and 5 microfinances. We used to be called by the SOS Belgium before 2 years. It's only since 2 years that we have changed our name to Humundi. Humundi is a combination of 2 concepts, that is humus and mundi, and the 2 I think makes the combination of potential and human. So when you combine the 2, connect the 2, it means really unleashing your potential and creating enabling environment or in living condition for human being. That is what it means. So in terms of development approach, we are really guided by sustainable food system and healthy environment, by which economic growth, green growth, and the social inclusion are the main pillars that are included in the sustainable food system and the healthy environment. So to happen for this, we are using as an approach agroecology transition. Agroecology transition is actually encompasses also its own varieties of activities, but in general, if I really summarize it for the sake of the time, it is regenerative economic development and redistributive economic sharing by design, not really something led by others. By design, you can do it, that is what we believe in, so that really just and safe environment can be created for human being, and the planetary boundaries will not be trespassed, and the majority of the people, like in the world now or in each country, significant number of people are really excluded from the development process. So ours is really not to trespass the planetary boundaries, as well as not to exclude people, so to keep all the human being within the just and the safe environment of the world. So that is what we aspire, and that is what we strive to really achieve. So in terms of really support, as I already said, Humundi is not an implementer NGO, it is a technical and financial service provider for its partners. In Ethiopia, for all the 11 partners, we are providing some finance, and mainly we are accompanying them also with technical support. So when we are saying technical support along ensuring sustainable food system and healthy environment through agroecology approach, by which we really provide tailor-made specific support for each partner, and we link them with external research institutes, universities, and all innovative centers along this line. And we also engage through them in territorial development, mobilizing different stakeholders and really scaling up what we are doing and influencing the policymakers also. We have achieved really significant progresses along this line. So these are in general what we do, what we are doing. So the main point I would like you really to take with you is, by design, we can make development regenerative economic development and redistributive, by which we can include all and we can save our environment. Thank you. Self-explanatory.
Addition? Go on.
Thank you very much. To add on what you say, in Uganda,
we'll do without, don't worry.
Increasing access and inclusion of the farmers into the microfinance and market systems. But they are also working with other partners who are focused mainly on agroecology, including Pelham Uganda. If you know Pelham Uganda, they also work with other partners working on gender, like WOGNET, Women of Uganda Network, and others. So they are around here.
Okay. Thank you for adding. We are going to continue with ARS. Mr. Mike?
Yes. I picked up yesterday, I learned yesterday that I was since yesterday a changed man. I hope you too. Before yesterday, I was the flower, you were the bees. So I'll spend half a minute on being the bee. And you will be the flowers. You will have to ask the questions. Go back to BRS. Prepare your questions. Go back to BRS. We have many things in common. We share our background. We come from a SACCO like you. Long ago, more than 125 years ago, somewhere there, they developed a SACCO. Out of that SACCO grew something very nice, very big. There is no reason why, as a country, as an institution, you cannot grow in the same way. Take your time. you will get there. 2, we share another thing. You care about people, we care about people. That's why we're here. And that, Susan, that's one of our criteria. We only work with people who care for people. Yeah? And in between an origin that we may have in common and a hope and an ambition that we have in common, there is this way of working. And we are quite unique in our way of working. Because, Johan, old people or elderly people like us free up time coming with an experience. That experience, we realize, is fading out. We can only bring common sense. We have a lot of common sense, Johan and I and others in our position. But to match that common sense and to make it up to date and to make it enormously relevant, we have the ability to bring in the Karens of the world. They volunteer, they are prepared to put their time, but mainly their experience into it. That makes it unique. Karen is here on holiday, half of her time, and paid for by the commercial bank the other half, which is something special, because we do not have to go and look for consultants. In KBC, where we all come from somehow, there are 44,000 consultants available. 44,000 people that have a specialty that may be relevant. And those people we are able to bring to you. That is a good way to work together. And it can be very theoretical, but it can be also very practical. As I said, we buy the PC, we buy the server for you if we think you need it. We make sure it is delivered, and Bart can tell you how much difficult it is to get a PC delivered from Belgium to Ethiopia. In our case, it is difficult, but we make sure it is delivered. But also, we make sure it works properly. And for that reason, we bring in the Karens of the world. So that's who we are. Go home with the idea that's who you can rely on. And that's what we look for, a good partnership. Because, number 3, we care about the same people. Your people, your poor people, your farmers, your women, we care about them in the same way as you do, but in a different format. I spoke more than 3 minutes, I presume? Yeah, okay. I'm open to questions, and if I have no questions, I'll leave time for the others to complement theirs. All right, we are free, we can speak, we are approachable anytime during the day and anytime during the days that come. Thank you.
You can clap for him.
No, you don't.
I have one question for all of you. Not for you, because it is not the others. A real inclusion of the farmers. I see in the slides and PowerPoint ESG inclusion, sustainability. Sustainability, is it a point of attention for all the 6
7.
I'm
you exclusive? Okay, I got you.
How important is sustainability, green finance, sustainability, long-term development? If I may ask, first reaction.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So sustainability is at the core of everything we do, because over the year we have
we can implement project, but if there is no sustainability, you don't have the following step. So it is very important that, and this is also what Enable is doing. We work to achieve our sustainability, so then in the next 5 years we can tackle another challenges. So sustainability aligning also with the sustainable development goals, it is at the base of our work as well. Yeah, thank you.
Can I just hold it?
You can hold it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for that wonderful question. So at FSDU, when I say we take a market systems approach, we want to create change at the market systems level, at structural level, at the top. So what does that mean? It means that we are going to create change that trickles down into the last mile. And that is sustainability in itself. We work with, when we design programs at policy level, we are embedding something into law, and that's why we see the bills that we deal with are enacted into law, the government assents to it, and the next is compliance. So when you create something at that level, it means it's something that is going to stay until a change is created. Two, we work with financial service providers. It is their products. They are the ones who go and work with the beneficiaries, so to say. So in that case, we know that it is a product that has been created at financial level. Even when this institution creates that product, at a certain time, we are going to share that new product with the whole industry. And we want it to be replicated across, because we have seen that this product, this innovation is working for women. This innovation is working for the youth. So you'll find that it is developed by one financial institution, but it's cut across. Maybe 6 or 8 are going to adopt it and take it up. And that creates a level of sustainability where everyone is going to be able to benefit and continue with that product. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will also hold it to save time. Yeah, okay, well, thank you. Now, for those who are here, you could have already seen that amongst the themes we promote, climate and environmental sustainability is very central. In the past, it has always been cross-cutting in our programming, but now it's one of the pillars within our strategic note for 10 years. So we believe that as we work on business development, inclusion, name it, environment has to come out at the forefront, because we can't proceed. So for us, it's very core, and that's what we talk about, that in whatever we do, there's ESG integration. So that is the new direction we are taking. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, well, thank you so much. Just to break it down a bit, we are talking about ESG sustainability. Perhaps we need to understand ESG. We are combining 3 things. We are combining environment, we're talking about governance, we're talking about social, all put together as ESG. So, all of us here, and for this context especially, of this workshop, agri-financing, we are financing agriculture, which they have to deal with the environment. And therefore, we are all in this. How are you helping the farmer, those who are using the environment? How are they using environment so that even the future, our future people, generation to come, will still get this environment in a good way, the way we are utilizing it right now? How will they benefit from this environment that we're using now? How are you supporting those clients to preserve this environment we have so that the future generation will get these resources and also use? That is sustainability. And that's why it is important to have it documented and followed up and implemented, reported on. We're talking about governance. We have leaders today, and they're going to leave tomorrow. What is the shift? How are you planning to ensure that even when these leaders who are here today leave, that the institution will still continue the way it's operating today? Sustainability. We are talking about the social aspect, the gender we should talk about already, the youth. How are you involving everyone? How are you taking the aspect of different needs of people? How are we ensuring that, yes, the impact which is created today is going to remain there with these people? Very important for us to implement, to report on, but also to monitor. And therefore, for us, the aspect of sustainability is really embedded in almost everything we are doing, because one understands that for whatever is right now, still will continue, whether for us today we are there or not. But if I leave capacity building unit today, I want to ensure that it will even survive when I'm not there. That is part of sustainability for my unit. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to give this topic a broader perspective, but zero down mainly to environmental sustainability, because sustainability has many facets. Now, when I was young, you can tell how many people were. Come on. No, I'm old. I'm old now. 56 is not a young age. Eh? Yeah, but when I was young, you can tell the population figures we used to see in the books. We know what the population today is. And if you have looked at the projections by 2050, you know how many billions we are going to be in this world. And that is at the backdrop, the fact that this land is not expanding by any inch. It is actually being degraded by the activities we are doing. That raises a very big question in terms of how we are going to live. Maybe for us will not be there, but how these people who are coming will live. They have the right to live on this world like we have lived, but we see it being destroyed every day. So that's why we have to put mechanisms to ensure that there is a restoration and provision of conditions that will enable those coming mouth and growing mouth to feed and survive. So that's how, when we talk about issues of, for example, of agroecology, we are looking at sustainability of this system to maintain food systems that will take care of this growing population. That's the summary I can give in that sense.
By the way, you mentioned about that, and I made a comment as we were taking coffee out. I saw our people who are supporting us to have tea spraying the bees. And they said, yeah, man. Yes. No. So you are spreading all of them. I said, so the issue is about the environmental ecosystem that we must protect together. Because now the ecosystem is depleted, as you already put it. Already you can see the practices. So there's a lot we have to do in terms of even creating awareness. Even you as MFI, as much as it's not your core, but I mean, we are to do all this together.
Okay, just as a follow-up to my friends here, actually. Well, the sustainability concern actually comes from the environment, as it is already said very well. Just to bring practical example in Ethiopia, for instance, we used to have the Ethiopian land mass, 40% of the land mass was said to be covered by forest, for instance, once upon a time. Currently, we have like 3% or 2% of the land is under forest, and the rest is deforested. When we are deforesting, imagine what could follow, you know, how erosion, how biodiversity erosion, soil erosion, all sorts of erosion follows after deforestation. So this kind of thing, it definitely shows you how unsustainable our practices were. It's not only that, you know, in terms of agricultural practice, what we are doing now and what really prevails in the world, it also is, instead of really diversifying our varieties, our food system, our everything, we are really reducing everything to the guidance of corporates, where we are really becoming in mono in everything, you know. That way we are also affecting our health, and everything is really goes into crisis. You know, when we are talking about sustainability, how we can reverse all these things, you know. And the way we were doing is, it was extractive, exploitative way, you know. So from there, now let us come back to the regenerative way. People say sometimes when we are talking about this, are you going to back to your traditional practices from all these technological scientific findings? We don't mean that. And still, those really overlooked or maybe wrongly narrated old practices or old wisdoms can be supported by scientific technologies and science, and they still can diversify our way of life, you know. That way, we can make the economy very regenerative. So, you know, from the land, we take everything. You know, when you apply fertilizer, you push the land really to give more than its capacity, you know. By putting back biomass, by putting back, you know, those wastes, then you regenerate the soil capacity, and it gives us better. That is how we think really sustainability of the environment can be ensured. So the sustainability issue is really, it's multifaceted, and we can talk in different directions, but the issue of environment is very critical. And we are also guided by sustainable development goals indicators. So we are relating to it in all aspects. That is how we are doing. In terms of really inclusion, so how we can include, I think agroecology approach is the most appropriate for inclusion, by the way. Be it gender, be it youth, be it the most marginalized smallholder farmers. Why? Because most of the things that we are doing through agroecology are affordable, and it is accessible by these people, you know. For instance, in the case of women, there is an approach we are following, for instance, in Ethiopia, from garden to farmland, you know. We start agroecology practice in the garden. Composts are made in the garden. Manures are composed or collected in the garden. Then they are becoming master in the garden. You know, in the Ethiopian agricultural practice, gardens are managed by women. So that gives them good income, empowers them. And the way we are really capacitating our microfinance, helping them technically, is also how they can really revisit their products and adjust to agroecology. Activity financing is also the way we are really bringing all the social groups on board. So I think much can be said, but for this time, this much is enough. And in fact, I will be having time, by the way, to talk about sustainability on Thursday, I think. Yeah, so thank you.
I have the impression that when you look at ESG, the S is clearly there. You focus on enterprise, clear social purpose and impact. That's one thing. On governance, great emphasis on cooperative governance, good governance. The E, from our side, there in Paris, will be open. I think that we in a learning curve that we have, that we cannot really offer assistance, consultancy on that point. I will be very open. That's the reason why I asked the question. I will be very open from my side. I don't know if it's wise.
No, you're right, and that's also one of the reasons why we asked, for example, now here to source up to bring it on, to bring the subject to the rest of the group. Also, when we did the workshop in Senegal, we asked the colleagues from Tecnam, an MFI from Burkina, to explain what they already did and what were the success stories from implementing agroecological practices. So it's something where we ourselves are also learning on, and also in the bank. But maybe Karen can add on that later on when she's explaining in her presentation. Also in KBC Bank, they have started recently working on it, and it is becoming more and more important, and maybe over time there will also be expertise from KBC that can be brought in, but right now they're also in a learning curve. Okay.
Thank you very much. So we are going to turn our guest, and then you move. We can take a chair one time. We are going to continue. So before we have lunch, we have 3 activities. We have 2 presentations, and after that we are going to discuss. So for the first presentation, is for KBC organization in Agri finance. We are going to present by Karen, and then you have more than 30 minutes to present your institution. Maybe you can do it. Let me see. There is.
Where do you talk? Oh.
Just put it
Okay.
here. Okay.
Okay. Does it work?
Yes, it's correct.
Ah, yeah.
Correct.
Okay, and how do I go further? Do you have yes, yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, I'm going to start to say that I'm Karen Martens working at KBC Bank. I come from a rather technical background. I have been working for 15 years in a research center in Belgium, in agricultural research. And then from this, I came to the KBC Bank where I do agronomic finances. I'm going to bring you a presentation on the way we work. I'm aware of the fact that it's a totally different approach. You will see we have a total different kind of companies, more industrial companies. I'm aware that of the fact that you can't impose this on your way of working, but I would be already happy that you take one or two ideas out of what I'm saying home, and it might be interesting for you to use. Okay? Okay, in the KBC, we have 38,000 employees. We work in 5 core countries. We originated from Belgium, but now we are also working in Hungary, Slovakia, Bulgaria, and other branches. In Belgium, there's 15,000 employees, and we have 780 bank branches and 1 head office. And we also have a very important network of insurance agencies. Okay? And we have about 3.5 million clients. I'm going to put... Okay, where are we? We are in Europe, in the center of Europe. This is Belgium, and I'm working in the Flemish part of Belgium, so we have a French-speaking part. This is French, and this is Flemish. Okay. Yeah. So, agriculture in Belgium. We have a department which is working for the small and medium enterprises. They have a credit portfolio of 22 billion euro, and we have a market share of 23%. As you can see, for agriculture, we have 2.9 billion euro in a credit portfolio, but we have a market share of 55%. So it's really important in Belgium for us, agriculture, and it's because we originate from an agriculture cooperative. Okay. So what we do, it's all, we do a lot of mixed agriculture, but this is also dairy farms or farms with cattle and arable crops. We have a lot of pig farms, dairy, greenhouses and fruit, and then some minor crops we grow. Maybe this is a little bit more interesting to see. So we have the dairy farms, we have pig farms, we have poultry production, where we have poultry for meat and for eggs production. Then tomato production, a lot of vegetables. We're really a vegetable country. Lettuces, cauliflower. Leek is a very important crop in our region. Potatoes, sugar beet, and then we have some flowers and plant cultivators. So the Belgian agriculture is characterized by 20,000 farmers, but they are mainly families. As you can see, the entire family is working on the enterprise. The number is declining drastically, so 3 to 5% is a year. And the reason is that we don't have a lot of young farmers who are starting up a company anymore. But the companies grow, so the young farmers who start again are bigger farmers and they become more specialized. So we have an average surface of 25 hectares of land, and there's a high volatility in income. We have highly automated production systems. I will show you a slide on this. And we are very export oriented. So we have the port of Antwerp is in Belgium. So this is really important for us. We can really spread everything throughout Europe, okay, and other countries. So how is the agriculture organized? We have a very intensive cultivation system. We work a lot in greenhouses, and we have a lot of livestock farming in stables. The commercialization of the vegetable production is through cooperatives and through the frozen goods industry. So there's a lot of enterprises from frozen foods in our region. You can see an example here. And this is a cooperative, a Belgian cooperative, where they have a system to sell the products. So the growers bring all the products to the market, and then it's sold by the clock system. Then you have the pig and the poultry production is also through processing a lot, and through the frozen goods industry. The dairy products is also with very important cooperatives. They work, and on a lot of farms we now see a tendency, they get farm shops where they sell their own products, or they make their own yogurts, for example. All kind of, you can see all kind of products they make from their own milk, cheese production, and they sell it to the buyers immediately. There's now a tendency also to processing on the farm. For example, we have a lot of fruit growers who make their own juice, apple juice, out of their apples. The apples they don't get to commercialize. They can sell it into boxes. They make their own fruit juice. And what we also have a lot, and what I didn't hear yet, is a lot of farm tourism. Some growers start, they have some place that they keep for people who come to the farms, because a lot of people now live in cities, and they are happy to come on a holiday on the farm. It's very good for the growers because they can explain what they do to the people who come to the farms. So we have a highly automated production system. As you can see, this is a lettuce grower. I have to say it looks very industrial, but on this system, the mobile gully system, for example, it has the advantage that we don't have to spray anymore. So in the gullies, you have water in these gullies, and the fungi don't get into this system. So we don't have to spray anymore. So we go from a soilless system to this system, and we don't have to use any fungicides anymore. For tomatoes, it's the same story. The water is really used in the system all the time. They can always use all the water which is not used by the plants. They can filter it and bring it back into the system. The fertilizers in the system can also be reused if they have not been taken up by the plants. So it's not always because it looks industrial that it's not sustainable, the systems. Okay? This is an egg as a machine. This, I'm not sure if you know this, it's a cow milking machine. So cows are milked automatically. There's a leek harvester, and then there's a sorting system for apples and pears. And this is how they harvest potatoes out of the ground. Okay. So the agriculture department we have in Flanders, I'm only speaking about the Dutch-speaking parts in Flanders. There's a East and a West department. We have 2 branch managers, and we have 8 finance experts. So the finance experts are the young people who come into the team. They have an agriculture or a financial background, and they are willing to grow into the team. They do a lot of minor demands, and they handle with the growers who are not in a relationship management. Okay? Then you have the relationship managers. I'm a relationship manager too. So we handle the more intensive clients, the bigger demands, and there are more experienced agriculture consultants with a high commercial profile. And then we have set up a competence center with agriculture counselors. So they handle the bigger credit demands. They are senior advisors with a very high agriculture knowledge of the sector. And they come with us to the growers when we have very demanding questions. For example, if young people want to take over the company of their fathers or of somebody else, they come with us to see it's very complex to take over the company, so they come with us and they can advise us. They also make big return on investment analysis for us, because sometimes we have very high credit demands and we really need good consultancy for this. They also do very demanding financial analysis, because we sometimes have groups of companies and we have to take the whole group in place. And they look also to help us with the legal advice. They also do the training of the personnel, so of the younger people who come into the department, the agriculture departments. So to us, to the relationship manager and the finance experts, but they also give training to the farmers. Now we have technically seen, we have a lot of farmers who are very, very well technically trained, and we have a lot of, for example, the farmers organization gives a lot of technical training to the dairy farmers. We have research center in Belgium who are paid by the subsidized by the government, and they give a lot of technical training to the farmers. So we don't really have to give a lot of technical advice to the farmers, but we have to help them with the management advice and the financial advice more. Okay, then we have at the headquarters, We have a credit risk department from 8 employees, but they are specially for agriculture. So they have also very agricultural background and are trained to make credit they make credit decisions over 1,200 decisions a year. And they also do the credit acceptance policy. Then we have some agriculture policy advisors. There are 4 of them. They are more masters in agriculture economics. They do economic agriculture research of what's happening in Belgium. And they look for the marketing, strategy and commercial policy of the agriculture department. They work very close together with the shareholder of KBC, the Farmers Union. This is Sarah, you see. And they also give policy advice on agriculture sustainability. Then we have a lot of supporting departments for us, but they are not specific for agriculture. There is maybe one I want to enlighten, that we have a bad debts department. It's more a department which helps us when we see that the growers don't get to pay back their debts. We go to speak with him and we take them to the growers and we look with the growers together if we can manage something to get a solution for the growers. We are partnering the client when they are in a situation that they really don't feel well. It's very important, this department, because this way we can bring back the grower again to a normal situation. It sometimes takes 3 or 4 years, but by this way, we can prevent from a lot of growers from going bankrupt. Okay. So I have a lot of growers now who are in my clients who have been in this department, but now, after a few years, they come back and they are back on track again. Okay. So what do we finance then? We have a lot of stables, dairy, poultry, and livestock stables. They are rather big in Belgium, as you can see. We have greenhouses and warehouses. We finance this over a very long period because it's a very high, they are very high credit demands too. We have agriculture fields. We finance agriculture equipment too, production site machinery, a lot of farm buildings also, and when young people want to take over from their fathers or mothers, we finance it too. And then there's of course a working capital. We finance lines for fertilizers, seeds, and so on. For this credit demands, more or less, we ask for 15% of own contribution. It depends on the credit demands and on the solvency of the grower. And we always lend to individuals, not to groups. Okay. So in our credit analysis, we analyze first who is the client, which is very important. The person who is managing the company is for us the key factor that we will have a good company. The company manager is important. The history with the client, of course. If we have a good history, the company structure, how is the group structured? What crops do, so we make an inventarization of the crops they grow, the livestock on the farm. The project we finance, how much do they ask and how much is their own contribution, okay? And then we ask also a lot of technical data to the growers. So the number of milk production, for example, for the pigs, also out of the technical data we can look whether this is a good manager, because we are convinced that if you have technically a good grower, they can produce a good crop and they can market the crop very efficiently. And then we have a lot of financial data. We make up a solvency of each grower, the liquidity and the cash flow. So the growers give us a lot of these data, they give us to us. And then the profitability of the investment is important. We ask some ESG questions also. And we do an analysis of the environmental permit. So in Belgium you need a permit with the amount of crops, dairy farms for example, they need a permit, and it's mentioned how many milk cows they can have on the farm, how many pigs and so on. So it's restricted by the government. And then we do also a risk analysis of the guarantees. Okay. So as guarantees, we take a lot of mortgage loans, or they give them as a power of attorney to create mortgage on land and buildings. This is very important for us. Once we have this, we can always renew the credits each year. We can give back the amount we have of this mortgage on their land and buildings. And it's the main reason why the credit losses in KBC Agro are not so high, because we have a lot of mortgages on their lands and it's worth a lot for us. We take also agriculture equipment. We take securities on the equipment of the growers. And we can also ask to the growers if they have, for example, for SMEs, they have something like, we ask to, how do you call? We ask liabilities from the privates, from the private person. So the number of guarantees is based on who is the client, which solvency has he, the cash flow, the history of the client. It's depending on the degree of risk. And we never award credit pure on the guarantees. All the rest, the cash flow and so on, has to be, and the liquidity has to be okay too. Okay? And we take also, we ask sometimes, especially to young people, insurances. So a credit life insurance we ask. So the decision-making system, we have 3 types. I already mentioned the pre-approved lines. So on base of historical data of the clients, we can set up a pre-approved line. It's also based on the rating of the client. So I already explained you have a rating from 1 to 9. We only give this pre-approved line if there is nothing negative into the system and they have a proven track record. This is for smaller credit demands. Then you have an individual, so I can take individually myself a decision to give a credit to the client. It's for medium credit demands and only also for clients with a proven track record. And then we have a dual decision-making system where we together with the credit analyst of the headquarters, we have to make a decision together. It's by the 4 eyes principle. So you have to be with 2 to make the decision. This is for substantial and complex credit demands. And we have an aid of an agriculture counselor if we want in this dual decision-making system. So how do we look at the cash flow? We make a cash flow of the client provide us data on their own cash flow. We look at 3 to 5 years, we make an average because there's a lot of fluctuation in the income of the growers. And we also have frameworks where we look per sector how much a normal grower gains of cash flow, has cash flow in this situation. And we compare both to the cash flow of per sector, we compare it to the grower. So as this way we can see interest, and we also have to take into account the living expenses. And then we have repayment capacity. We always keep a margin to handle the fluctuations of the crops and of the cattle. I wanted to tell you about digitalization at KBC. So we have an app on the smartphone, which is very complex and very much used by the growers. There's also a digital assistant for answering questions to the client. Then we have an application on the computer. And for credits, during 2 or 3 years, we have that clients can ask us for a credit by those systems. So the credit demands from the client comes through the system. We have digital approval, and they also can digitally sign the contract. So we don't have to go anymore to the grower to sign the contract. We go to the growers to speak about their credit demand beforehand. We do a proposition, we make a proposition, and if they agree, we put it by the computer and they can sign it digitally. They also can consult the amortization tables digitally, and they even can upload, when they have been granted a credit, they can upload their invoices into the system to put it on the account, and they can pay it to where they have to pay it, the machinery and so on. They also can ask whether they want an early payback. Sometimes we have this, that growers can earlier pay back than they have to, so they also can ask it digitally. Okay. On sustainability, we have been working a lot already. There's a lot of financing of windmills in Belgium. We have a lot of solar panels on the stables. It's a very good cost reduction for the growers also, because they have a lot of electricity for their farm by this. This is a biogas digester, so they put manures into the system and it creates biogas, and from this biogas they can use it on their own company for electricity, but they also can sell this biogas. Then on carbon dioxide reduction, there's a project which come out that we are producing the most climate-friendly milk of Europe. I already explained the mobile culling system for the reduction of pesticides. And there's a European Green Deal where we have to cope with. There's a reduction of 50% until 2030. In Europe, there has to be a reduction of pesticides. So this is a very demanding for the growers exercise to do, but I'm not sure if Europe is going to be able to deal with this Green Deal. And then there's a lot to do about nitrogen emissions. So we have a lot of pig stables in Flanders, and they grew and they grow, the companies, but at a certain point, a lot of nitrogen is going out of the stables to the into nature. So it was the government and the neighboring parties were telling to the growers, you can't grow this anymore, you can't breed anymore like this. So now we are coming to a point where there's a big discussion in Belgium between the growers and the government, because the growers want to maintain the system they have been taught for 20 years. So we have made a lot of mistakes in the past too. We didn't take sustainability into account 20 years ago. The Growers Union encouraged the growers to say you have to put stables and they have to be big enough, but they didn't take sustainability into account. So this is the lesson we have learned. Now we have to, if every decision you make, we have to take sustainability into account. Okay. So we have the strengths of KBC. We have a very strong position, a historical position in the agriculture market. We have a good collaboration with the Farmers Union. There's a historical knowledge of the market. We have very solid clients with good guarantees. There are limited credit losses. We have highly educated and motivated personnel with strong analytical skills. And we have a good digitalization system. And we have, of course, a solid structure of KBC and Sera Holding. And we use the client-centered approach. The weaknesses we have a highly saturated market in agrofinances. So there's a lot of competition. The demands we get are increasing higher risk because the growers are growing bigger and bigger. We have aging growers with a lack of young agriculture successes. And it's challenging also for us to find young potentials in the department, in the agriculture finance department. We have to deal with climate change also. We get very dry summers, but we have very water demanding crops. As you have cauliflower, leek, we need a lot of water. And in the winters, we had this year this problem. The fields were flooded with water, and we couldn't, with the machinery, we couldn't get on the fields to harvest, for example, the potatoes. And we have a global market, but this implements that the income of the growers is very volatile. And yeah, okay? Okay. Okay.
To give you the internal procedure of KBS.
KBC.
KBC.
Yes, yeah,
okay.
Okay.
Sorry for that.
Okay.
So you are giving us the opportunity to see what you do, and we are going to compare it with what we are here now. It's not different, I think. But it's, the managing is different.
Yes.
So that we give hand again to Karen. Okay.
Okay.
So if there is a question, you can ask, and then we are going to continue.
Alan?
Yes. Thank you, Karen, for the presentation. Mine, I wanted you to give some quick briefs about especially challenges faced by the farmers, the clients taking loans, and also like if you could talk about maybe, I don't know, the portfolio at risk that you have there.
Yes.
Then also the interest rate for like the agricultural loans.
Yes, yeah.
Then also the terms of payment. Is it monthly? Is it quarterly? Is it
Yes.
At the end of the season?
Okay. The portfolio at risk is more or less 5%, and it changes a little bit, but normally it's rather stable in agriculture. The second question you ask, the percentage depends on the OLO, we call it OLO rent, and it's about, now it's about 3.5% a year. Yes, we even had percentages 2 years ago from 1.5%.
The euro is the official
Yeah.
rate. So if you hear euro rate, you have to think official rate from the National Bank of Uganda.
Yes, yeah. So they are not comparable to the percentages which are asked here, okay? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The challenges you face.
But we have, of course, for example, for 20 years finances, yeah, we speak about sometimes 120,000 euro of interest on the whole period, over the whole period. Okay. And then the third question. Yeah.
The challenges faced by the farmers.
The
Challenges.
they have for what?
On the borrower side.
On the borrower side, the challenges, I think it's the environmental permits they have. They lose because they are not always compliant with the environment, sustainability. They are not always working sustainable. The other, they become bigger and bigger, so the risks are also increasing very much. Okay. I think this is.
The installments was also a question.
The
installments for paying back the loan.
Yes, it depends. We go to the grower and we have a conversation with the grower and we ask them how do they want to pay back. Because some growers have a monthly income. The dairy farmers, for example, they can pay back monthly. There are farmers who only have in October the revenues of the potato harvest, for example. They pay back yearly. It depends really on where they have the income, and we talk with them how to manage. Sometimes we give them a delay, for example, if they put on a stable. The stable is only operational after 1 year, and when the incomes from the stable come in, they have to start paying back. Okay. Yes?
Yeah, thank you for good presentation, Karen. My concern, what I want to get clarification on is, aware about the challenges also, but I would want to know how you partner with the role of insurance in your operations, how you integrate it, and also what role does government play, especially in regulating because you talked about the competition, talked about the competition, which was actually for me a surprise that you can also have such a challenge. So how do the regulators control that? And also about the global market challenges. What role does the government play? I hope you also have a government there.
Yes, yeah. What? The first question was on...
About insurance. How
does
insurance?
Well, we have a lot of guarantees, but what we really is important for us is the analysis before we grant the credit, because you can't guarantee any, especially the big investments, you can't guarantee it anymore. With guarantees on the land or something, the growers don't always have such lands, so many hectares, so we really have to make a very good analysis of the profitability of the system they want to implement. Because if you don't succeed in looking whether there is enough cash flow to pay back the loan, it's the first demand we look at. It's really important, so we don't always give credits because of the guarantees. We take also guarantees, but you can't always put enough. If you have a loan of 10 million euro, you can't guarantee this all with land. Sometimes we can take 5 hectares of 10 hectares of land, but you can't guarantee it all. So you really have to trust the manager of the company, and the cash flow analysis and the profitability analysis are very important. And then we can also look at some insurances. This is really important too, that if something happens to the grower, is there a second person who can take over the company when something happens to this grower? The husband or a wife, for example, or a son who is involved, or a daughter who is involved in the company. And if there's not, we really have to make good insurances for the grower himself. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, okay.
Yeah. Thank you really for a very splendid presentation. I love it a lot because I'm not operator. I'm rather technical assistant for our partners. So for those people, I think it is very interesting.
Okay.
My question is about knowing your customer. You know, I think your KYC is a very important element in financial service provision. You say we collect different information or data on our customer. And first, how do you really exhaustively collect those information or data, and how do you update? Because sometimes it's dynamic.
Yes.
The situation of certain customer changes,
yes.
changes over time. So how do you update all these things? And is it not really, and in fact, maybe automation?
Yes, no.
But still, it is very
yeah. We get a lot out of we talk to the grower about the investment and so on. Then we ask a lot of information because the grower has financial data himself. They have technical data, and some data we get out of the systems. For the SMEs, for example, they are obliged to put all their financial data. They have to publish it each year from the government. So we can pull it into the systems each year. So if we have to analyze the financial data again, we yearly have an update. Okay, this is also used, those financial data, for the risk models we have. Most of them comes for the growers, or from their bookkeeper or something. We can also manage to get them, but we have to update it frequently, and we put in at each credit demand everything into the system. We put in the cash flows into the system, solvency and so on. So the next credit demand, normally it's already there. And if we have a new report from the National Bank, we can import it and use those new data. But we also talk to the growers about those financials. How does it come that your revenues are less this year or more? It's very important to go in depth also with the growers about those financials. Yeah. And the costs, why do the costs grow this year? And why this or what this, okay? Okay.
Thank you very much. I think I find it very important when you said you depend more on analyzing the solvency, the liquidity, the profitability, and not putting a lot of attention to the collateral. To the collateral. Security.
The security. Yes, we put in a lot of attention to securities. Exactly. But it's not the main goal. You can have, for example, a credit demand where you have 100% of guarantee, but if we don't believe that the grower is paying back and he will have enough cash flow, we don't grant the credit. Fine. Just for the guarantees. But it's important, the guarantees for us. Maybe.
I agree, because why I brought this and where I find the point of departure is here, and why maybe most of the circles start and don't live up to their first anniversary or second or third, is people try to put a lot of attention on the collateral.
The collateral, you mean the guarantees? Yeah, okay. Yes.
Issues.
It used to be.
I think it's very important for us to take this serious and make sure that what she's saying and how they have survived means a lot. If our institutions around also have to live.
Yes.
That is very
I have to admit, 20, 30 years ago in the bank, this was the same thought we had, yes. Okay. But now if we have 100% of guarantees and we don't believe in the manager or the cash flow he is going to produce with a new system, we don't grant the credit either.
All right. Then I have, because still there are people around, you said portfolio at risk is usually around 3%, 3 to 5?
Yes.
That means still there are people who fail to meet their obligations on due time. I don't know if you have any experiences among those people, if there is anybody who totally failed at the end of the day, and what did you do? Or if all of them at the end of the day will manage.
If there's a failure, you mean, yeah.
So
then we have to sell the grounds which are in the guarantees. We have to sell the house. Yes,
yeah. Those experiences are there. People have lost their property.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Maybe lastly is I got interested in the mobile galley system. Is it mobile galley
yes,
system?
yes, yeah.
But I have not comprehended exactly what happens.
So,
if you can give more light.
Yes, they put the solid into plastic tubes where the water is running with the fertilizers into the system. It's recirculating, and it has the advantage when you put the crops out, you take the crops out of the ground into the system. There's no fungi in the system anymore. In the ground, there's a lot of fungi which can harm the lettuces, and in the system there's no fungi, so you don't have to use any fungicides to grow the crop. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
But I have also noticed that if we got 10 people from Belgium to come here to get loans, even the government cannot manage. Is that an observation, right?
The government,
because of the amounts they get to invest into the business.
yes, yeah, yeah.
They are huge.
Yes, yes, yeah. Okay, one, yeah, maybe one at a time. Okay.
My concern is, okay, you have finished doing all the...
Can you speak up a little bit?
Yes, a bit louder.
My concern is, for example, you have finished doing all the cash flows of the client and is qualifying to get a facility. Is there a limit? Is there a policy limiting that person from getting facility from someone? Because you never know, along the way you may get another need and you can either come back to you or go to another institution.
Yes, yes. It's more or less the limit, 10 million euro. But if we can see, sometimes we work with 3 banks together. If there's higher credit amounts, we work with 3 banks together, so we can reduce risk per bank, actually. But normally we don't, 10 million is the maximum we get of questions normally. Yeah.
Also because of the system, there is cross-referencing, do things so people know.
Yes.
They won't give you alone.
Yeah, okay. Other questions? Yes?
Yeah, thank you so much for your good presentation. I've noticed that's the point you say, high educated and motivated people. So I want to know if you have any role in this point as KBS, your role in education, educating and motivating people.
Yes, yeah.
Another question. I saw Sarah. I want to know more about Sarah and how we are working with you.
Okay, maybe my colleagues can explain more about SIRA. So SIRA actually is a holding, but it has a part where there's a farmers union, Boerenbond. It's also part of Trias, Boerenbond. And on the other hand is the bank, KBC, which is, SIRA is a main shareholder of KBC. Okay, and SIRA originated, maybe they can explain better.
KBC Group is the holding company, and there's a bank and an insurance company, because you cannot combine bank and insurance. The main shareholders of KBC Group are SIRA, 22%, something like that. Then you have the Boerenbond, the Farmers Association, is 11.5%. And then you have traditionally the families, what you call, families, the Flemish industrial families, have now 8.5%, something like that. And the rest of the shares are listed on the stock exchange.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Mine is not a question per se, but you know, I want to appreciate this, and you know, from Kelly's presentation, observed and picked, you know, a lot. First of all, looking at the environment under which KBC is doing the Agri finance, and I'm trying to relate it in the environment, specifically in Uganda, under which we are doing Agri finance. I see a very big difference. In that, to me, it looks like in Belgium, really farming has been taken up as a business. And because of that, I'm seeing that, you know, the farmers have owned it up. They look at it as, really, as their means of survival. But here in, specifically, if I can talk of Uganda, you know, most of the people are into Agri because they have failed in other, you know, sectors. And then
Yes.
they look at Agri as being now exactly the last, you know, are we together? The last resort for them to survive. So because of that, we lack some bit of you know, sustainability. You know, I want to assure you here that for Agri, because of that, even the will at our top level, you know, can talk of the government also, because we have had even some government farms that have collapsed. You know, with their ability actually to sustain them, they have failed because, you know, they have failed. You know, the mindset is like it's not
Yes.
Agri, you know, as supposed to do it. So I appreciate this. You know, to my Ugandan colleagues over here, we need to pick a lot from this. You know, when it comes to we now who are doing the Agri financing, you find that even in our institutions, you know, the capacity of our staff that we are using is also somehow lacking. Because some of them, you know, yes, they have gone into these schools and they have, you know, we are using even statisticians to handle Agri financing. Now you try, you know, how it gets. Me as a credit manager, I have looked at KCB model, whereby, you know, a staff even can, you know, disburse a loan when actually it has not gone through the committee. But I'm telling you, if I did it at my institution to allow the staff, you know, approve to some level, before you know, even at the end of the month, the portfolio at risk will be, you know, out of the roof, altogether. But just because the client who is a farmer, you know, upholds what he or she is doing, and the officers themselves, they know what they are doing. You know, when I look at Kellen, you know, presenting this and her being a relationship manager, I see she's also, seems to be, she's also from the background of agriculture. She understands what she's doing. And this is exactly what is missing out here. So at this point, really, I would want to appeal and request the DRS team that it would be good that where possible, if you could also, you know, support and, you know, have some of our people, you know, where possible, and then they go and have that experience there. If I can imagine if they go and have an experience with the staff of KBC, you know, they will come back when actually they have appreciated this, they have seen this, and to me, I think it can help, you know, like that. You know, the government here has had a program whereby every year they get a few number of successful farmers, and they are taken to Belgium and where, and I'm telling Netherlands, and I'm telling you, those guys who have had the opportunity to go that side and come back here, they have come back when they have changed completely. And actually their farms have really survived because they have come back with a different mindset and they have appreciated that agriculture can be done as a business and sustainably. So my humble appeal is the PRS team, please, where possible, if you can allow us and support us to go for this exchange learning, I know gradually we can create a very big impact. Thank you so much.
It has to, yeah.
Okay.
stop it like that because we have another presentation.
Just one more.
The last one.
The last one, yes.
Yeah. Go on.
I just want to understand if
Karen,
you have
Oh, I'm sorry.
a grace period for the farmers and for the repayment, if you have a grace period and how long you give a grace period.
You talk about the grace period.
Yeah, the grace period. It depends on when they will have the revenues. So if we have a stable and it takes about 1 year, you have revenues, they only start paying back after 1 year. If you have revenues immediately, you have to start paying back immediately. So it depends on which crop you grow and when you will have the revenues. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Thank you for this experience. We are going to take another. They are going to share their collaboration with stakeholders. Okay. We have 10 minutes. Can you use this?
So, and the reason why we put this on the agenda is because you have now got an explanation from Karen on the organization of the agricultural finance in KBC with, as she explained, a lot of specialization. You have trained agri relationship managers, you have some agricultural branches that are still there. You have people in head office, specialized credit analysts in head office. You have even other people supporting in head office, giving training to the relationship managers and so on. You have the agri consultants, as Karen explained. And now we are going to look at an example at Wasasa, how they are organizing themselves to do the agricultural finance. So
Well,
Jabessa, you can explain. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm Jabessa from Wasasa Microfinance. Wasasa has started to engage on microfinancing, on agricultural financing from its inception. This is the organizational structure of Wasasa. Wasasa has board of directors, general assemblies, and the like. And agricultural financing is managed under the Deputy General Manager Operations by the credit department, and the credit department has a staff like this: credit expert, agricultural expert, and credit reference bureau, credit reference officers. Can you move to the? Well, Wasasa, as agricultural financing, has agricultural experts who do train and support the branch staff on financing of these agricultural activities. We have officers at branch level, branch managers, and full-fledged staffs over there. These staffs are doing the assessment and appraisal of these agricultural financing activities, and the approval and everything is completed at the branch level. The agricultural expert we have at the head office is providing a technical support and capacitating the capacity of staff at the branch level. Appraisal and registering loan application and other activities are implemented down at the branch, and every loan approval is completed there. Yeah. Yeah, you can move to the next. We have different support. We have get different support from different institutions or companies that support the work of Wasasa on agricultural financing. Among these collaborators, we have local and international collaborators. the importance of having a collaboration with the local partners, you know, engaging as a microfinance, engaging on, apart from availing finance, engaging on other financial, activities that support the farmers to do agriculture business is a bit difficult for microfinance institution. So we have to get the willingness of the development partners in the country. Among these, the zonal and warada, maybe in your case, you may say it county or something, district. We have to get the support of these structures from the government, and they do the expertise, and we avail the finance for the farmers. Seed and fertilizers in Ethiopia is monopolized, and especially fertilizer is only imported by the government, so that we have to collaborate with the government bodies to get for our farmers this kind of to get financing for the farmers. Also seeds, even though we have few seed enterprises, it is not enough, so that we have to collaborate the cooperative and the union in the country to avail seed for our farmers who need a fund from us to purchase seed and fertilizer, so that we collaborate with local stakeholders. With these local stakeholders, we, to get their consent and collaboration, we are going to have a memorandum of understanding, and we sign a memorandum of understanding with them. We organize the farmers, we train the farmers, and to get the required amount of seed and fertilizer, we deliver the equivalent amount of fund or money to the association, the cooperative or the union, so that our farmers go to the office of the cooperative or the union to collect the inputs, be it a fertilizer or seed, from those input delivered. With international stakeholders, there are BRS, there are Humundi, SOSFAM, SNV Netherlands, and International Development Enterprises, which we call it ID. They all provide technical and some kind of financial support for Wasasa. For example, with BRS, they provide us technical support on capacity building, on IT development, and updating our data base to the latest standard. And also they give us a kind of motivational training for the management of Wasasa to focus on financing of agricultural activities for the farmers. With others, we also get a technical support on product development, on training and capacity building. Yeah, we can go to the next. Is that? Okay. 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 That's it. Okay.
Wasasa presentation. Is there questions?
Just observations from me.
Yes, yes.
I just want to share your experience. You have encountered. So you talk about collaborations with different stakeholders, like the input suppliers. Have you had an experience whereby a supply of inputs, like seed, you have a collaboration, somebody supplies inputs to the farmers, and maybe the inputs don't perform?
Yeah, you know, inputs in Ethiopia is owned, one, by the government. There are seed enterprises, there is a vast farmland for input production, for seed production. And the other is there are a small farm service center. It is an institution established in the country by the support of different NGOs. And they also produce improved seed for agriculture. So we have a collaboration with these two organizations. From the government structure, we have to have a collaboration with cooperative organizations who are on behalf of the government to provide us the seed which we need for our farmers. With the farm service center, actually their capacity is not that much enough. So we also have a relationship with them and collaborate with them to avail the required seeds and inputs for the farmers we are financing. Yes?
Yeah, thank you very much. In my small wisdom, especially for us, the road grouping countries, I find it perturbing that we can delve into agricultural financing without thinking about agricultural insurance. And I seem to be missing this. Maybe you mentioned it when I was out. But what is your experience in that? Do you think we can do it successfully without insurance? That is one concern. Number two, I seem to get the impression that at least for you in Ethiopia, unlike for us here in Uganda, you have extension services available for the farmers, which is a very good opportunity. But also it is easy for you to collaborate with the government. Possibly you don't have issues of corruption and things like that. Because for us here in Uganda, even when they are going to support agriculture, they do it politically, and they even don't want to go through the already established institutions in most cases. They want to create their own institutions. Currently we have, for example, a program called the PDM, Parish Development Model. This is intended to support the smallholder farmers there in the villages. But you couldn't present a circle and say, let's support the farmers from this. They said, we are going to form new ones. So unfortunate for us. Thank you very much. That's
Okay. Maybe from the first slide, to start with the insurance issues. The first page. The first page, yeah. If you may see the logo of Wasasa, you know, this is the insurance to represent the insurance coverage. Wasasa is working on insurance, and we are also working on saving. This indicates 3 pillars. One, this is to represent agricultural financing. The other is, this one is saving. And we have a coverage for insurance, but it is not that much developed. But we started insuring farmers in agricultural insurance. Especially that is on specific crops, on very limited and specific crops. But the beginning is really very nice, and on this aspect, we also supported by BRS on the development of the product and other partners. With regard to your second question?
I think you have good working relationship with your government and you have extension services.
Yeah, with regard to the issue of corruption on seed issues, you know, seed and especially agricultural inputs are limited, and it's not really enough for the farmers to get inputs. So that is why in most cases it is monopolized by the government and owned by few institutions. The experience that we had the year before, we financed teff. Teff is the major crops grown in Ethiopia, which we make injera out of it. We financed on one of our biggest branch, that managed a loan portfolio of more than 72 million Ethiopian birr, and the branch manager organized farmers who have land for farming, and they pay for fertilizer, for seed, for the government institution called cooperative. Cooperative is owned by the government in Ethiopia. And we paid the money on behalf of our farmers to get input in kind. And the zonal administration office, the leader of the zone, comes to the branch and arrested all of our branch staff. And they put in jail for 2 weeks. You know, actually we agreed with the other development program, with Ministry of Agriculture, Cooperative Promotion Office, and the like, and we agreed with them to distribute the fertilizers and the seed for our farmers on behalf. It is even, we issued a voucher for our farmers to collect their the seed and the fertilizer from the office, their warehouse. But our staff present there to record who received the input. This is the only thing that our staff are, they are there to watch when the farmers collect the seed. But they put them in jail as seed and other agricultural inputs are very constant, and people are suffer to get it. Maybe.
Just frankly speaking, agricultural insurance in Ethiopia is, I can say that, non-existent. Recently, the government, with the support of Korea government and with bank-affiliated insurance, they piloted for crop insurance. But because of there is no clear policy, there is no clear support from the government, still, even there is no subsidy from the government side, still it's under pilot. So it's not existent.
You are struggling.
Struggling.
Yeah, we are struggling. Yes.
Okay, in terms of the loan volume for the farmers, I don't know, do you offer the loans for those small scale farmers, or you focus on the large scale?
Normally, commercial farming is not a practice in Ethiopia, and so our loan is for smallholder farmers. It's a smallholder farmers, and the loan size ranges from 5,000 or 10,000 to 50,000 Ethiopian birr. This agricultural financing, except for coffee value chain, the other loan is below 50,000 Ethiopian birr.
And how is the period of repayment? Is there a period, maybe grace period, or they also pay immediately after they receive the cash?
For agricultural financing, there are a rainy season, which is in Ethiopian case from June or July to October, November. So within this period, we didn't expect any repayment from the farmers. So the repayment period is expected during the harvesting season. So the loan term is not more than a year.
Yeah, it's not a question. I just want to share experience from Tanzania as far as agri-finance is concerned and the issue of collaterals and insurance. In Tanzania, there is a private sector called PAS, which is private agricultural sector support. This PAS is providing guarantees to every agricultural loan which is issued by the bank. How? They offer this guarantee in two ways. If the farmer go directly to PAS, they can offer up to 80% guarantee of the loan. But if the customer was originated from the bank, what do I mean by saying originated from the bank? Maybe the bank equity the customer, and then after do the analysis, the financial analysis, after collateral evaluation, and the bank they found out that this collateral cannot cover this loan. So the bank is going to approach the past institutions to guarantee the customer. There the past institutions guarantee the customer by 50%. But there are some paid, which is of the total amount of loan that we're going to receive. For the insurance, most of insurance companies in Tanzania, they're just afraid to involve in agricultural loans. So what they did, they are ready to insure part of the total loan. So in order to assist the customer to receive the loan, the farmer, so the bank is also approaching the insurance company to cover for the portion of the loan, while the other part of the loan can be guaranteed by the past or the bank itself. That is how it's working in Tanzania. At least for you.
In our case, for the rural or agricultural financing, we use group lending methodology. Again, we have a risk mitigation strategy, 1% credit life insurance. If the borrowers die, the loan will be written off. The other case, recently the National Bank issued movable asset registration that will give us an opportunity to register the cattle, forest, and the others. Currently, we have land is owned by the government. Land cannot be as a collateral for the ruler. So the option we have currently is the group lending methodology, because the loan size is also small, the period is also, the long-term period is small, so that we use the group lending methodology.
Okay.
In terms of, we talked about the farmer service centers.
Farm service center.
Who also help in terms of seed or fertilizers. Do they also have specific farmers who work with them, whereby you also lend to the specific farmers who are working with the farmer service?
Yeah, you know, farm service center and cooperative are the source or an institution from where we get this improved seed and other agricultural inputs. These farm service center are allowed to do this input delivery. They're allowed to do the business. You know, especially with the seed, they can agree with model farmers to manage the farm for seed multiplication. They collect that and purify and test the seed quality, and after it's certified for seed, they hold and sell to the farmers. When we do not able to get from the cooperative, which is the government organization, we go for the farm service center to supplement. So it's not this group of farmers has to go to farm service center. This group of farmers has to go to the cooperative. It's not like that. But when we do not able to get from the cooperative, we look for farm service center to work with, and then, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Maybe I was just asking because for us in Kenya, we also have farmer service centers, but this is where now they bring the farmers together. The farmer service center is where the farmers come together to access technical training services, also financial services. So we work with the farmer service center to get in touch with groups So one farmer service center can have like 50 or 100 groups. So for them, for us, they are one of a place where we get those groups so that we can also convert them into our customers and finance them. Yeah, so I think it's somehow different.
Yeah, that is not the case in Ethiopia. It is only an individual person who do a business on agricultural inputs, and he is licensed. He or she is licensed to do that business, and they actually provide technical support for the farmers. They may train how to manage their farm, but their role is to do profit out of the business they are doing. It's not the collective of the farmers.
Okay, we are going to stop. Can we give a big hand to? We are going to continue. It's time for lunch. I want to invite you to discover the first product of our value chain. Is a white pepper. So when you have your food, just pass through the table and ask for white pepper, so that you just put it in, and then you taste what it can happen. Yeah? I invite you to discover it. Okay, so everybody, you can move and we go to lunch. We see this afternoon because we are going to share the experience of value chain. Okay, thank you.
Who's lunch?
It's out there. Go out for lunch. You can have it for lunch, yes. Okay.
Why cooperative kana nan gargaartani sin? Why cooperative kana nan gargaartani?
Mal cooperative waan itti dandeessu miti ka namni jira. Malee maaliif na waan inni dhufe waan amma itti dandeessu.
Let me remove the microphone.
Yes.
Sorry. Okay. This is